This is what's left of the village where Salmawati has lived for 3 decades. It's where she raised her children before everything was swept away last November.
That night I was so distressed because of the flood. I woke up in shock at 4 o'clock in the morning, and when I looked, the river was completely full.
It took just hours for the flood to destroy the life she'd built.
The children, they said, "Mum, the house is gone." I was heartbroken.
In November, the Indonesian island of Sumatra was smashed by a rare cyclone that formed in the Malacca Strait. Torrential rainfall triggered widespread floods and landslides that killed more than 1,200 people in a matter of days. Salmawati and her neighbours waited days for basic help to arrive. The tents they're now sheltering in took a month to get here.
We were all sleeping together in a crowded space at the village hall. It felt like we were homeless, like we were living on the streets. When one person cried, everyone cried.
Before the disaster, the Indonesian government had slashed funding for the Disaster Mitigation Agency and regional governments, including here in Sumatra.
Our personnel are ready. What we lack is funding. If sufficient funds were available, recovery would accelerate significantly.
It's hard to believe, but this once was a village. It now basically exists in name alone. Residents say that the force of the floodwaters that came through here was so intense they'd never felt anything like it before. And with that raging torrent came a sea of logs that tore down their homes.
Sumatra's forests have been disappearing for decades. These before and after satellite photos show the speed and scale of deforestation here. One environmental monitor says the island has lost more than 4 million hectares of forest in the last 25 years, an area that's more than half the size of Tasmania. Forests have been levelled by companies involved in palm oil production, logging and mining.
That loss of forest cover has directly contributed to the severity of today's flooding.
Bitra, a Sumatran environmental NGO, says North Aceh alone has lost 80,000 hectares of forest cover in the last 10 years. Every year the land is able to absorb less rainfall, and every year the threat to local communities intensifies. President Prabowo Subianto has revoked permits of more than 24 companies after an audit found they'd violated environmental protection laws. 6 companies are also being sued.
We are going to crack down hard on illegal logging. In fact, that is exactly what we have been doing.
That's a positive step. However, we still need to examine how effective revoking those permits will actually be.
This used to be lush green rice fields, spanning from there all the way to the other end.
Communities now living with valleys full of mud and sediment fear the next deadly flood is just a matter of time.
It's heartbreaking for families trying to earn a living when their rice fields are now buried in mud and massive logs.
For now, they're focused on a desperate fight for survival. Tim Swanston, ABC News, North Aceh.